Good morning, early morning. You know what, as summer kicks around, it's always good to get a early morning start with a lot of things. And because of the heat, in most of the places that we're at, the heat is definitely creeping in and going full war horse on us, right? But a good, nice warm cup of coffee in the morning, it doesn't matter, you know, especially in the early morning, so it's always good. Anyway, I do appreciate everybody gathering around, tuning in to the Collectors Radio Show every Saturday morning. That is awesome. I want to say before we get started here, because we got a few things, some cool stuff to talk about. Hopefully you've been checking on the channel earlier this week, because we actually did do a video featuring some other grips by Deer Hollow Grips. So hopefully you check that out. If you haven't, please go back through and check that out, because it's absolutely cool. We got Generation 2 Colt Python grips from Deer Hollow to video and show you guys. It's just awesome stuff. Once I kind of discovered his work and you know, checking it out for myself, really I became rather very intrigued. I'm trying not to use the word obsessed, but it's been so intriguing and stuff, so we'll dive into that a little bit. Before I read the comments and go through, I'd like to say this. I feel this is something I wanted to get out right away, and that is, I hope that if you guys have not, if you don't know who he is, you know, check him out. He's also really good for the small community that we have here. He's been doing wonderful things for. He's always out there, you know, reaching out to a lot of us, bringing a lot of news to from channels that we don't maybe not know about, that, you know, just flying under radar, small channels like myself and others. And he brought a lot of light to Mr. Holster when during Mr. Holster's time that he was, you know, going through his treatments and everything, and then, you know, sadly, ultimately passing away. Did a lot of really cool stuff, getting that T-shirt done, and then was really instrumental in getting that T-shirt sent around. So a lot of us had the ability to sign it. And that was really cool. He got it out to a good friend of mine. I carry one that signed it as well, and then got it to me so I could sign it. And by the way, yes, I carry one is still alive. Quit messaging him about him being gone. He is still around. He just has other things going on, so that he, you know, just doesn't have time to video all the time. So, but I promise you, I'm going to get to him and make him video something. All right, but anyway, but no, this message goes out to the crazy Scotsman, or the crazy Scottish American. He's still crazy though. I know you're having some back issues, brother. My back is in no good shape myself. I have been battling a back nerve issue since November. It has been rough. Me being stubborn, I didn't go see any kind of treatments right away, because I just thought it would go away. It doesn't go away, because when you're not 23, you're, you know, it just doesn't go away anymore, especially when you start peaking over that arch, you know, like once you pass 35 and you're getting, it sucks. It just doesn't, it doesn't just, you don't bounce back anymore. And then as it goes further down the road, it gets worse. So, but anyway, no, I really hope that you get some help with that, and it get some relief for you. I went to a chiropractor and a set therapist. That's what I've been doing for mine, and the set therapist seems to be working. I'm not sure what you know your situation is, or, you know, at least for mine with the nerve issues, and obviously I done something to my back, not knowingly. Same like you, man. It was like totally like, don't know what happened. It just, there it is, and boom, it just didn't go away. So I've been seeking some therapy, you know, with the set therapist and the chiropractor treatments and stuff like that. I'm trying to get better. I have been getting better. It's been a slow train, but then again, I did put it off for a long time and not just go get treatment right away like I should have. But anyway, that one goes out to you. I hope you get better. You know, and that just sucks. I know the pain. I know what you're feeling, and it just, yes, it's terrible. But anyway, Crazy Scotsman, Scottish American, either way, I know you're still crazy, but get help, man. I hope that I just, it bums me out to hear people like him that experience that kind of discomfort or whatever. It affects your life. It really does. All right, so here we go. We're going to read your comments here. No particular order. Again, if your comment wasn't read, either you're too late during the production of the show during the week, or it just got pulled for whatever reason. There's moderator things that get pulled, and so I'm sorry. I'm reading the comments as they appear, as you would be seeing it just on a laptop computer, really. All right. First one is up from Crazy Scotsman. Those new Smiths are Lipsy Special Edition. There are 2 different models, no key lock. Yes, sir, 100% agree with you. I get along better with older folks and enjoy the stories. Keeps the history alive. Yes, absolutely. So that's cool that that Smith is a Lipsy's edition. I was wondering about it, and thank you for answering that. And that's cool, and that's awesome. I love the fact that you can share a lot of the insight of the industry and what's going on, because I've been out of it so for a long time now, and that's really cool to see and to hear that. Lipsy's is a really cool company, that a distributor that most of the FFLs are going to deal with, the Federal Firearms License, shop holders and stuff. They're going to deal with. They're going to deal with Lipsy's, and then they're going to get some certain products from them. They are a very good distributor for that sake, and they're responsible for a lot of special edition stuff. That Glock Gen 1, if you're interested in those type of things, the retro throwback, they were instrumental in that, which I thought was really cool. Because everybody here knows I'm not a big polymer or whatever modern stuff person. I just don't. I'm not into it. The Glock is the only one that I actually have just a small interest in, and that's mainly because where it comes from, the Glock 17 and all the cool little, if you would, what little interesting history it had in the early days. So and of course, obviously with the films, there's a lot of films that I really like that feature it. One that comes to mind just off the top of my head would be The Pledge with Jack Nicholson. It's actually, I believe it's directed by Sean Penn. If you have not seen that, that's a really cool detective type murder mystery type deal with Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson carries a Glock 17 Gen 2 in it, and it's really neat. He doesn't go off using it all the time, but he has it, and it's shown a few times in the film. It's really neat. I have that connection with it. It's cool, and of course, everybody, how can you not like the U.S. Marshals movie with Tommy Lee Jones and his infamous line? So, but that's about it. It's just there's some connections there for me that I like. So, all right, Joe P. Swig of coffee for Joe. Good morning, JW. Years ago, I used to color the stampings on my semi-auto pistols with white crayon. That was the other thing. I'm glad Joe mentioned that. I forgot about that to mention that last week, that you can use a crayon. I did forget that. You can go to, obviously you're going to have to find the box that's going to have the color. If you want gold, I think you have to get the bigger box, because that's not going to come in the standard, the 8 crayon or whatever box. I don't know if the kids even use crayons anymore, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's another way to do it. Also, according to his comment there, I would seal it with clear polyurethane or clear nail polish. There's the other way. That's the other thing to do. So that's cool. This is a great comment. If you do use, if you want to go into I think it's Brownells, they sell that lacquer stick, which is basically how would I describe it? Those wood filler crayons that or whatever that the hardware store sells, and you just use it and fill in damages or whatever on your wood floor or something like that. That's the way I would describe those lacquer sticks. They're great, but the problem is it comes out easily, especially if you're using like solvents and oils to clean your stuff. But yeah, that's a good way to seal it up, would be like a clear coat of some sort. It looked great, held up well to regular ballast stall cleanings. There we go. These days I prefer my guns more like a whiskey, unadorned. Yeah, that kind of goes back to like, you don't want to take off and go crazy with it. I did. When I first discovered to do it, I did all kinds of stuff. But I kind of limit it now to very, very few things. In fact, that Colt Python was the first one I've done for a long time. I haven't done, hardly anything with those, making them like that. All right. So next comment here is from Nardo. That's just the way it appears. I apologize if I am not pronouncing that correctly or whatnot. It's just the way it appears. YouTube has been weird because they add like stuff in the front and stuff in the end now, and it's like, so I don't know. So Nardo, that's exactly how it was for me growing up. Yes, the best way to grow up. I think growing up, riding bikes, playing in the woods, going out with the kids around the neighborhood, causing mischief, falling down on your bike. My knees and my elbows are all scarred up from doing dumb things and riding up ramps, and that's probably why my back is all messed up. So, all right, Jeffrey Richardson, Mr. Holster was great. Yes, he was. He was definitely a personality that was greatly missed and made a huge impact. Slimfire, morning JW. I hope you had a great 4th of July. You're right about Colt stepping up and making some nice handguns. Yes, they definitely did. I wonder what would happen when the Colt CZ group took over, but it looks like they're making some very nice firearms. Thanks, Slim. Yes, when CZ was taking it over, it didn't concern me. I know a lot of people were like, oh, that's going to be, I want my Colt to be pre-CZ and all that. I knew it was going to be a good thing, because also remember, CZ owns Dan Wesson and has for a number of years, and look what they did for them. But no, one thing that I saw in an interview with one of the new, he's like, I guess he's got to be part of the CZ group when he took over. He's, I guess, the current chief at the helm, if you will. He's awesome. One of the first things he said was, the two guns that really made a difference in his life that he really liked about Colt was the Gold Cup and the Python. So you could almost say that there you go. One of the coolest things they could have brought back for sure was the Python, and they did it right. And all I can say is when you get one in your hand and you actually own it and shoot it and enjoy it, you, at least for me and most everybody else out there, are just thrilled with it. I couldn't be any more thrilled. I think it's just a wonderful revolver. It's so great, and it's awesome, to have it, and you can shoot it and enjoy it, and it's pretty much just like the old ones in the back in the day, only the actions now are built stronger. And the frame, it's the top strap, they added more, metal to it and beefed it up a bit. All right, Sean, cool topic this morning. I was wondering how you did the gold inlays as well, and now I know. Nice Model 15. Yeah, no problem, Sean. That's what it's all about. Finding out stuff and sharing it. That's another one of the big reasons I like this show, is sharing stuff. It's not, to me, like, I don't get into that, like, oh, it's mine, it's precious, I'm not going to share it. No, we're going to share all kinds of stuff here. Share what we've done. If people have questions about it, share it. The late, great Dick Smith of special effects in movies. Dick Smith was the guy that pretty much created the standard formula for years for stage blood and he was the guy that came up with bladder effects makeup. You can see that clearly done in the horror movie Scanners. He also did the special effects for The Exorcist for Linda Blair's character. He did all that. He did the special effects for the ending of Taxi Driver. If you haven't seen that, definitely. So things like that. But Dick Smith would discover this stuff, create it, share it with all the other effects artists. Also was a huge impact and help to special effects artist Tom Savini, which Tom Savini made all those horror flicks of the 80s come to life and, you know, drip with all the coolness and, you know, led the way for a lot of other people too. Tom Savini was very known for his effects being practical. He could do it for a really good price and produce some of the really cool effects on there that just absolutely brought, at least got my childhood, you know, pumping, and I just enjoyed it, especially Dawn of the Dead. I mean, Dawn of the Dead, what was that, 1978 that came out, and what a party that movie is. It just, you know, it's awesome. All right. So, anyway, yeah, we you know, we share information, share stuff, you know. Like, I just actually picked up some brass to load some moderate 357s since I got the Python and doing that. But another one is Starline Brass. This is a really good brass company that if you're looking for, especially my revolver stuff, because you're obviously, you got the cylinder, you punch them out in your hand, you can you know, you save them, you're not chasing them all over the place like with an auto loader and losing it all. So Starline is usually who I choose for my revolver brass specifically, like, you know, 44 Special, you know, now the 357 Magnum, and also I got a lot of it for my 4440 and my 3840, you know, revolvers and stuff. The 4440 is the lever action, I'm sorry. All right, Deer Hollow grips. We had gotten, if you hadn't checked it out, this is the latest ones that we got. This is the Generation 2, mid-60s to 74, I believe. So you can see there, the difference there is that the way the checkering kind of sweeps down. I'll show you. So this is the early Generation 3, and this would be Generation 2. You can see the checkering slightly different. Where it differs is, like I say, it's right here where it rounds over. The Generation 3, like these, this is the early Generation 3. They are actually rounded off in the corners here. I have a late Generation 3 done up in his, what is called weird wood, as he calls it, which is really cool, and you guys saw that. I just had to pick these up because it was so cool. But you can see it goes straight across and all the way to the edges there. They say this feels a little bit bulkier in the hand, which I actually like. That's one of my favorite features on it. I would say out of all the, so far what I owned, you know, the sets I got, I like the late third generation set. I think it just feels wonderful. It looks very, you know, very close to all the ones that I remember seeing. You know, and I talked about the finish, his clear coat finish, the tinted clear coat finish on these things is so just, it's nice, it's even, it's well done. I saw other, you know, other grips and Python grips, legit Python grips that were like, you know, he got me thinking about it because I do recall when I had 3 of them back in, you know, back in the day, I guess, if you consider that. Jeez, I can't believe I'm saying something like that, but I guess, you know, 10, 15 years ago was, I guess, could be back in the day. But the ones that I had, I always liked the Python grips, always did. My favorites were definitely, I had a 1978 manufactured one that had this style grip on it. And it was I remember it was a very, it looked like it was like a light color, but like an orangey, like a dark orangey color. but it had no grain to it. There was nothing. There was no, if I recall right, it was no character to it at all. And then on the back, like right at this spot, the finish was funky. It looked like it like sections of it came off or something like that. So that's what I remember. And then I had another generation one that pretty much had like this color, like this style. It was actually done up nice, very similar to that. So anyway, that's the stuff I had. And then I had a 4-inch that was a very early one. They had these Generation 2 style grips on it. But nowhere near as nice as that. This is a brand new set. Obviously when you get out there, Python's been around for a long time. Even if you're buying originals secondhand off eBay and whatnot, either way, they're going to be beat up in some way. Unless somehow you found somebody that literally had a set from, back in the day. They took it and they kept it nice and everything. I don't even know what kind of small fortune that's going to run you. Where Deer Hollow, Olaf has been creating something far more superior and built exactly, I think he said that he'd done the exact scans of original grips to manufacture those. All right. Speaking of all that, what's really neat is his reference guide. I printed it out because I thought it was just so neat. It is like 17 pages that I got out of it. Really cool, but it's posted on his website. You can actually go on there and check it out. There's even an article written by Roy Huntington for AmericanHandgunner.com. That there was actually a small article there written off and about his grips. Really cool stuff. They feature that and they talk about that. He's actually got detailed information on what to look at. He's talking about here the late third generation Python grips. On the front note, the square, upper corners where we was talking about where it's squared off. So really cool. You can actually get yourself slightly educated on these, and that way you can actually kind of, it may even help you when you're purchasing or looking at original, if you're looking for original Pythons and trying to pick those up out there. What's cool too is about that is, I prefer, even though I prefer the newer ones that they're coming out with. If I'm going to get a Python, I like the newer ones. I don't really have the interest in the old one. And that's kind of odd for me saying it because, I'm more interested in the older stuff, and I'm a collector myself. But I like these better because they pretty much are the Python. People say, oh, it's not a real Python. How so? It's made by Colt. It's Python. It looks just like them. But you can shoot these, and they can handle a nice steady diet of 357 Magnum. Colt made sure they tested all that, redid the inner workings of the lockup and everything, so they're built stronger. And that's my interest. I want to go out and shoot them, and enjoy them. Before, I had, like I said, I had a couple, or one for sure that I was shooting was out of time. All right. But this at least gets you a little bit educated on when you're out there buying some of the vintage ones if you want to. Which the cool thing about that is actually the prices come down, and now you can actually kind of pick and choose which one you want, because it's making a lot of the ones that are, my local area, what I've seen is they're right around 1,800 to about 2,000. It depends on, and those are in excellent condition, used, just loose guns, no box or anything like that. Then those are vintage, vintage Pythons. So that's a cool thing. If you're interested in the vintage ones, you can pick those up. And that was within the last year so that I seen those in local in the shops and everything. So that's cool. All right. So one of the things he even mentions in here that I really liked, which he was talking about it, is, I'm gonna try to find it because I want to kind of read you some inserts from this. he does reproduce the hardware, the screws and whatnot, including the scutcheons. That's exactly the way they look. Also, you know, keep in mind too, you don't want to. These are so good. You know that the difference if you're looking at his grips, or you know, hopefully not somebody trying to sell his products as originals. Look at my unboxing video, and that you can get an idea really close up of what these babies look like. So I always say if you're looking at a python, the grips look just completely outstanding, and the gun's a little bit worse for wear. You might want to check and make sure that the grips on it. Anyway, he's got a thing right here, and this is what's really cool. I want to read this, just a little short paragraph here from this write-up called "The Wood Quality and Finish." There are also grips made of mahogany, most common in Generation 2 and transitional Gen 3. The wood is soft, light in color and weight, and I do recall that. The grips are like super lightweight and has very plain, featureless grain. When compared with walnut, these grips can be either clear coated or tinted. They are easily identified if you look the unfinished back of the panel. We haven't found any pattern how the wood species or were used. What they were pretty much using, who knows? Maybe probably whatever was local to the area that, you know, these were outsourced to. We can only assume that the wood was chosen by the grip manufacturers, not by Colt. There are also distinctive differences in the quality of the finish. Gen 2 usually has a nice smooth finish, while late Gen 3 can show a lot of open grain and less carefully applied finish. We've added a few comments under each variation. Yes, the one that I actually saw personally up close was a 1980. It was in the 80s. It was built. It was brand new. And I was looking at the grips on it, mainly. That's what I was looking at. And like I said, this gun was like for sale for, I don't know, it was like $1,800 or something. But I was looking at the grips really, just because I wanted to check the grips out. Because lately I've been having, what I noticed was like the finish on it was like really like blotchy. Like it was like not evenly done. You could just tell it was probably just like they probably had a table full of them, and the guy just took a sprayer and just went. Like just really like just haphazardly and just did it. So, but yeah, it's interesting during the write-up. If you read it through, it's so cool because there was a lot of stuff that I experienced personally, and I was like, wow, yeah, that was what I experienced. Him talking about you can take your thumbnail and actually scrape some of that finish off. That's how just it didn't adhere properly to the wood originally. And I do recall that because one that I had, it was like the finish was kind of screwed up in the back. I was like, what's going on with that? I remember taking my thumbnail and kind of pushing on it. And the wood, you could almost feel like, you know, you were pushing and denting the wood with your fingernail. Not by much, but it wasn't like something like balsa wood, but it was pretty close. And I remember that finish kind of flaking off a little bit and me freaking out going, oh no, you know, and just kind of putting it aside. And that was one thing I just over time I kind of grew out of. I didn't want that anymore. I didn't want this like, you know, oh, I got to white glove it and put it away and don't, you know, I kind of want to, I still like the collectibles, but I want to go out and shoot them and run them. And, you know, it's like I still want, it's like I want that really nice, you know, old school car, but I want to go and drive it out and, you know, take it out for lunch and stuff like that, you know. So there's that. Another really cool thing, which is in the write-up, it is in there, which was mentioned to me by I Carry One, my good friend over there. He said that you know he had a Python back in the day, and he remembered that you know this was his biggest thing with what he explained to me. He's like, you know, this is such a revered, expensive Cadillac revolver. And he remembered that he looked at the grips and he said one was one color and the other one was another. He said it was like literally 2 different grips, and that's the way he bought the thing. It wasn't like, somebody had swapped them out or anything, but that's the way it came. And it's funny is, in this write-up by Deer Hollow Grips, he actually mentions that there were some that were like that, literally like they're 2 different colors. So, but it is super cool. I mean, the write-up and the history on the grips, I had no idea there was so much detail like that within the Colt Python grips. No idea. That's really neat. That is something that I had no idea of, and it kind of got me kind of really intrigued and fascinated with it, and really obsessed rather, So, but no, Deer Hollow grips. I discovered them. I can't help but just bring the spotlight to it, because it's like, this guy's doing the quality of the work and the grips he's doing is just, oh my gosh, like this is really good. And to me, it's very important, even though he was doing this prior to the Python, the new 2020 Python coming out. Of course, obviously with the 2020 Python coming out, he can't keep up with the orders. And that's one thing, people, and I mentioned it on my video on the unboxing. I know it's a 12-minute video, and I know that people don't want to sit there through the 12-minute. In fact, hardly anybody sitting here through 31 minutes of their life that they'll never, ever get back. But I know some of you are. But I mentioned it, that, look, Olaf is a one-man shop over there. He's literally one person doing this stuff. So he's got to, you got to be patient with it. All good things, if this was a mass-produced item, the quality wouldn't be there. So it takes some time to do each one and get it done right. So, you got to be patient. Get yourself on that notification list, the email thing, and that way you'll be notified the minute it pops on. The minute you get the notification, seriously, don't even wait. You got to jump in there and get it. Stuff literally goes up there and boom, they're gone. I mean, just like hours, from it being posted on there. People are just ready to snag them up. Rightfully so, because the product is outstanding. And that's one thing, I don't mind talking about it, bringing the spotlight to stuff that is just that good. I mean, if something's out there and something's good, I'm gonna tell you about it. I'm not gonna sit there and lie and say, oh, whatever. So, yeah, that's not what we do here. If there's something really good, I wanna tell you about it and bring light to it, because if you're one of those that has the new Python, the new 2020 Python, and you want the grips for it, the original like style grips, and you don't want to get overpay $300 or whatever it is for a decent set of originals on eBay or something like that. And and there's nothing, and again, like these are the originals that come on it, or what comes on the 2020 Python. These are made by Alt Mount. They're pretty good. The checkering isn't raised; it's recessed into the grip. And I mean, we're splitting hairs. I'm not trashing these, okay? But somebody actually asked if, and I'm glad they asked about the traction on them, and yeah, these are way better for traction wise. This is really smooth. It's countersunk in there. My biggest gripe with these were they're thin. They're really thin. I didn't like that at all. In fact, it's why I put the big oversized ones on my 2.5, because the original the service grips it came with are just too narrow, too thin. They actually hurt your hand shooting it, even just with 38 special. So I put those on it. Deer Hollow offers service grips. I'm gonna have to pick up a pair just to put on there and see how it looks, because obviously is going to be wider and more close to what was originally offered, and definitely worth picking up. So all right, there's that. And one last thing, I had received some special mail that I had no idea was coming, and it took me a second there, because I said, I didn't get this. what is this? What's going on? But it was a gift. And it says, Bat Jack, our good friend Greg, said, you haven't seen this yet. I know you will enjoy it, from the Weasel. Thank you, man. I know who you are. And the item in question is it's a movie, Old Henry. This looks interesting, especially if the YouTube family here is telling me that I got to see this, and he went as far as sending it to me. It's got to be good. We got to watch it. So, and the cool thing is, it's actually by Shout Factory. Shout Factory did this, so that even causes me to be intrigued into it even more, because Shout Factory is one of my favorite. They've been going through and producing out a lot of really good stuff that a lot of I like the Scream Factory stuff that they do, because I'm a big horror movie buff for all the old stuff. But this looks really good. It's got Steven Dorff in it. Tracy Atkins is the singer, I believe. Not much of a country singer or music guy, but I know who that is. I believe that's a country singer. It's starring Tim Blake Nelson. I'm not sure who that is, but looks good. I mean, you got to check it out. The past came calling. He answered. Old Henry. So that's going to be, looks like Tim Blake Nelson was in Watchmen. Steven Dorff, what's funny is he's in The Gate. He's young. He's really young in it. He's in The Gate, the old movie The Gate. So yeah, this looks interesting. I'm gonna have to check this out. Open it up. Thank you very much. That is really cool. Like I said, I first opened it up. I said, "What is this? What? I didn't order this." So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and always supporting the show here and what we do and all that. I do appreciate that greatly, and I always enjoy bringing stuff to you that is I think is good stuff, good products that work. We've shared a lot of things on here, like talks about ballistol, leather dyes, and things that work. And of course, somebody turning us on to Renaissance wax for coating and doing a nice finish job on your polished firearms and whatnot. So anyway, we'll be bringing out and sharing more information with you and everything. So thanks for watching, and have a good one.